When a group of compassionate Estonians embarked on a mission to rescue a distressed dog trapped in a freezing and icy river, they found themselves in an unexpected situation. What they thought was a simple canine rescue turned out to be something quite different. These Estonians, a team of construction workers, had been assigned the challenging task of restoring the Sindi Dam on the Parnu River. Their work was already strenuous, made even more demanding by the harsh weather conditions prevalent in that part of Estonia. The area experienced frigid temperatures, with frequent snowfall and rapid ice formation in inconvenient and problematic locations. The very ice they were contending with had caused significant damage to the dam they were repairing. To endure the unforgiving weather, the construction workers layered themselves with multiple garments daily. Maintaining warmth was not just a comfort but a necessity. Cold-induced shivering and unsteady hands could lead to errors with potentially catastrophic consequences. Falling into the icy waters below held little hope for survival. The frigid water's swiftness could sweep them away in an instant, making vigilance and caution imperative. As they began their slow descent down the dam to assess the eroded walls, their attention was suddenly drawn to a small creature struggling in the shallow section of the river below. Despite the relatively shallow water, the animal appeared to be in dire straits, desperately needing immediate assistance. It thrashed about, attempting to free itself, but the cold water weighed it down, impeding its efforts. To compound the situation, snowfall had commenced and the wind intensified, threatening to further plummet the temperatures. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, the workers knew they had to take swift action to save the trapped animal, regardless of its identity. One of the workers recalled, "We could see this little shape, and at first we thought it was just a log or some debris in the water. But it kept moving, so we looked more closely, and we could discern the outline of a four-legged creature. Some thought it might be a deer or an elk, but we were completely mistaken, far from the truth." None of us could believe our eyes when we finally reached the scene. With their construction duties abandoned, the workers rushed to the river's edge with the goal of rescuing the distressed creature before it succumbed to the bitter cold. The strong current had carried away any hopes of rescue. As they approached, their astonishment mixed with a sense of sadness as they realized that the animal struggling in the river was, in fact, a dog. Its fur was matted, encased in ice, and it trembled violently in response to the frigid wind. The poor animal was in an appalling condition. Without hesitation, the men waded into the icy water, paying little heed to their own safety, and lifted the dog from its precarious situation. The exhausted dog was so weakened that it made no attempt to escape or resist as the group of men gathered around it. Fortunately, they had brought a thermal blanket, which they wrapped around the shivering animal in a concerted effort to dry and warm it. Subsequently, they placed the dog in a vehicle and transported it to a nearby veterinary clinic. They fervently hoped that a veterinarian could examine the dog and provide assurance that it would recover. All the construction workers shared a profound love for dogs, many of them being pet owners themselves. Witnessing a dog perish in such a harrowing manner would have been devastating for them. Reflecting on the car ride to the veterinary clinic, one worker remembered, "We had to carry him over the slope. He was quite heavy. Remarkably, he remained calm, even resting on my legs as I attempted to stretch them. He briefly lifted his head before gently lowering it. He was truly a good boy, merely in a dire state." Upon arriving at the veterinarian's office, the doctor immediately began a thorough examination of the animal's vital signs. The veterinarians from the Estonian Union for the Protection of Animals noted that the animal had exhibited low blood pressure upon its arrival at the clinic. This might explain its calm and docile demeanor while the construction workers carried it to their car to provide warmth. Had the animal been at a suitable temperature, its behavior might have been more agitated and it might have been inclined to flee. The creature bore several injuries across its body that demanded immediate attention. Fortunately, the construction workers had transported it to the clinic in time for these injuries to be treated before any infections could set in. Additionally, the ice and cold had inadvertently acted to freeze over the wounds, preventing infections from taking hold. Thankfully, the veterinarian successfully treated the injuries and sealed the wounds before they could deteriorate further. Had the animal remained in the water for an additional 10 or 15 minutes, its survival might have been in jeopardy. It is crucial to remember that in freezing water, both humans and animals can survive for a duration ranging from 15 to 45 minutes, depending on their physical condition. Weaker individuals may endure for a slightly shorter time, while stronger ones may hold on a bit longer. The bloodstream begins to freeze within the veins, making it increasingly challenging for the heart to circulate blood throughout the body. Ultimately, the heart and brain will cease functioning altogether. The veterinarians diligently assess the animal's condition, paying special attention to its heart and brain activity. Fortunately, there appeared to be no permanent damage. Time is of the essence when treating an animal that has been exposed to cold water, one of the treating veterinarians emphasized. Restoring proper blood flow and maintaining a normal body temperature are critical for preserving the health of the brain and heart. Without them, the outcome can be fatal. Once the animal was out of immediate danger, the clinic's veterinarians were finally able to closely examine it. They discovered that it was a sizable dog with broad shoulders, pointed teeth, and a thick, unkempt fur coat that appeared to have never felt the touch of human hands before. It seemed as though this dog had lived its entire life as a street dog. However, the revelation about the dog's true nature came as a surprise. The construction workers had been looking for a place for the dog to recover, and when they inquired about its situation a few days later, they learned that finding a suitable home for this canine had proven challenging. This news puzzled the men, as they had grown quite fond of the sweet animal and were willing to provide it with a temporary home. In fact, one worker offered to foster the dog until a permanent home could be found. To their surprise, the veterinarian strongly advised against this idea. The worker was taken aback by the vet's caution, prompting further explanation. The vet emphasized that the dog, although too tired to display aggression earlier, was not a dog at all but a wolf. While dogs and wolves share a common ancestry and, from a distance, some dogs can resemble wolves, this particular animal was unmistakably a wolf. Although smaller than expected for its age, which had led the construction workers to mistake it for a large dog, it was clear that this animal was a wolf. Fortunately, after a week, an opportunity arose at a nearby sanctuary specializing in wolf rehabilitation. The sanctuary would be equipped to provide the wolf with the proper care and attention it required. In expressing their sentiments about the wolf's survival, a member of the Estonian Union for the Protection of Animals remarked, "We are overjoyed with the outcome of this story and extend our heartfelt gratitude to all involved, especially these brave men who rescued the wolf, and to the clinic's doctors who fearlessly cared for and treated this wild animal."